Hi, my name is Paul Sargent. Welcome once again to AP Euro Bit by Bit, where I'm trying to break down modern European history into small bite-sized pieces so that you can better understand it. Well, today we've got an exciting topic, and it's called the putting out system. Take a look. All right, so let's get this out of the way first. The putting out system has nothing to do with prostitution or a sexual revolution, which is probably where your minds went when I first said it. Putting out system is an economic change that we see in Europe in the 18th century. And the idea is basically this. There are different regulations in place which are hampering trade and industry. And the biggest one of those that we're going to be dealing with is called the guild system. Under the guild system, which was left over from the Middle Ages, people who worked in a certain industry would set up requirements for people to be able to move into that industry. There were apprenticeship requirements, there were different requirements of time and being able to produce certain works, and then when an individual was ready to move into becoming a master and being able to set up their own business, they had to get the guild in order to approve them as part of this. Well, that was all fine and good in a medieval small town, but there were certain restrictions on it which were difficult. The guild would set prices, the guild would set quality restrictions, the guild would regulate what came in and what came out, how much was being produced, all kinds of things, and they had a lot of power within towns. But they also formed a barrier for entry into the business world, because an individual who couldn't get approved by the guild, they were kind of out. So the entrepreneurial spirit, though, was still alive. And especially in England, you see this putting out system arise. And for sake of ease, let's just call it cottage industry, because this is another name for it. And I think as I describe it, you'll start to see the foreshadowing of something that's coming in the future. All right, so basically the idea is this. Entrepreneurs who wanted to get into industry decided that not being a part of a guild, they weren't allowed to make a product and then sell it. And so they had the great idea of having other people make the products, but they couldn't make the products if they weren't part of the guild, so how do you do this? All right, so here's the deal. This starts with the wool cloth industry, okay? So an entrepreneur would go out and they would buy wool. The wool then they would take to cottages or homes out in the countryside. These people who were farmers, especially subsistence farmers, had very little to do in the evenings, and they certainly had very little to do between harvest and planting. And so there was a lot of time on their hands, and they really didn't have any disposable income. In fact, they had barely any income at all, because most of what they were producing was either being given to a landowner or was being used to feed their own family. So the entrepreneur would bring the wool to a family, and the family then would spend time in the evenings and through the winter spinning the wool into thread. The entrepreneur would then come to the house. He would get the thread which had been produced. He would give them new wool. He would also give them monetary compensation, give them money for their efforts. And so then the entrepreneur would take the thread from one family and take it to another family who would weave it into cloth. And then from that family, he would buy the cloth from them. He would then give them the thread to make more cloth. And then he would take the cloth and he would sell it at market. So this entrepreneur is moving around the countryside and moving a product from its raw material, the wool, all the way through to a finished product, the cloth, that he could sell. And he didn't have to abide by guild restrictions because he wasn't making anything. He was simply buying and selling goods. And there were no regulations on that. Brilliant, right? Now, there are certainly benefits to this for everyone involved. For the entrepreneur, they're able to go about and create a business and make some pretty good money by simply moving product around. Buying and selling has always been a good way to make money. For the individuals who are living in the farms, in the cottages, they're able to improve their standard of living because the cash they make through the work they're doing for the entrepreneur allows them to go to market and to buy goods that they otherwise wouldn't have. And with the increasing goods coming from the New World and the increasing goods being produced by more industry, they have the ability to buy things that they never could have imagined before, thus creating a higher standard of living for people living in the countryside. Downside, of course, is that there is competition in the countryside. People are competing over the quality of the goods, they're competing over weights and measures and sizes of things, they're competing over who gets the contract with the entrepreneur, they're competing with all kinds of things, which doesn't lead to a very happy community. But the other problem with the whole thing is that the entrepreneurs start to realize over the course of time that this is a very inefficient way of doing things. They're spending a lot of time on the road, which involves a lot of risk of losing product, and they're just transporting stuff all the time. Couldn't there be a better way? Maybe. If they could bring all of the product into one place, do all of the production pieces in one, I don't know, building? Maybe that'd be better. All right, so to sum up what turned out to be a pretty quick video, here's the putting out system. Here's Cottage Industry. Sorry, you guys are gonna get all lowbrow on me here. Okay, so the cottage industry is all about this. Entrepreneurs use the labor available in the countryside, moving product from one place to another, thus creating a finished good that starts with the woolen cloth industry, and make money and more goods available at the same time as creating a higher standard of living and greater demand for luxury goods in the countryside. The ultimate result of this is going to be the creation of a factory system and the movement of people to cities to get jobs in factories. But that's for another time. For right now, I hope you understand this. My name's Paul Sargent. This is AP Euro Bit by Bit, and I really hope these videos are helping. That's why I make them. I make them for you. So if there are things that you don't understand about European history, that you've been dying to ask, that you read about, learned about, just didn't get, please respond in the comments, send me an email, let me know, and I'll see if I can't help you out. Till then, my name's Paul Sargent. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.